Hey guys, Merc back with another CV game, and in this one, I'm really just going to talk about late game decision making. So in this battle, and you see we took out a Stalingrad there, let's pause for a moment. We're looking at having Midway here. We're in a very close game, point-wise. We are down several ships though, so the enemy does have 2 battleships and an extra cruiser versus us. So as you can see, we spent a lot of time trying to spot, and we were not getting good RNG with our dive bombers on destroyers. So it was tough, but we eventually were able to help clear those out. And we were trying to do a lot of spotting on that sub because he was doing basically a beeline towards me and a Moskva. And yeah, we were just not racking up the damage. But this is definitely my highest XP game, and you're gonna see why. So Midway is the carrier that has the greatest flexibility in these situations, and I think this is probably one of the reasons why Midway for me is considered one of the best CVs, because you have flexibility to hit targets at pretty much any angle you want, especially with the dive bombers. So you're gonna see my key focus right now is resetting the cap. The 2 caps is what's keeping us in the game, basically. If the enemy caps us, we're extraordinarily behind. Then we have to consider driving at the enemy and trying to get the caps back. So resetting is extraordinarily huge. Also targeting what can be targeted by your team. Brindisi is absolutely the one target right now, right? Closest, alone, can be targeted by the team. So, I mean, looking at the carrier doctrine, this is it. We are getting to work on him, and we are trying to do as much damage as possible. Trying to save Hampshire was kind of important there, but he's gotten on the wrong side of the island now, and so he can just be targeted by anything over there. So right now it's effectively me and Sherman. We are going to try and get some spotting for him, but I also do want to save some of these fighters for potentially saving my drive here. So what I mean by that is I'm running from the sub right now, primarily, and I want to get behind the rocks at Charlie. So I just want to cut off that path that Midway could potentially have to get at me. That was the purpose of that drop anyway. This is a recording based off a replay, so you're going to see that the reticles are not perfect. And you see dropping that at least kind of helps push that Midway away a little bit, just buying me more time. So we were able to clear that Bravo from that capping, and again, this is the main focus, keeping them off Bravo as much as possible. With this torpedo flight, my main goal, the primary objective, is to keep them off of Bravo. The secondary, but near equally important, is getting damage, right? I want to pause it here because I do want to talk about this portion. You see how I did do a pre-drop? Key reason is that I'd be flying into Baltimore and 2 battleships, and now there is a fighter, but even considering if the fighter wasn't there, I'm not going to be able to get 2 comfortable drops on these, a second drop, essentially. So I'm just planning for 1. By doing this also, I'm saving torpedoes for the late game, and by that I mean dueling against the Midway if it comes to that. So when you get closer into the late game, torpedoes are your best weapon most of the time for all carriers in fighting enemy carriers. So you do want to try and conserve those and plan accordingly. Alright, so I did do this because, you know, it is good rotation as well to use your torpedoes. So we do pop the heel to at least get some value out of this. We drop it here because Baltimore's already turning, and that can potentially hit the battleship behind him if he keeps driving towards Cap. Enemy Midway player, not sure what he's doing here. Not a good idea to attack a enemy Midway with dive bombers from the back. It hardly ever works unless you do a pre-drop timing. So we were able to keep both those ships off, or at least one of them, I think. Yeah, we were able to keep off the Ruprecht, and we are going to try and drop a fighter here to where the enemy, where our Sherman can still see them. I think, actually I don't do it here because my bombers are going to be in this area for a little bit anyway, so he's going to be able to get the spotting. And now we're going for reset. Sherman has a very high DPM, he can do a lot of work. Right now the key is to keep the 2 caps as much as possible. Keep the 2 cap advantage. Targeting and focusing an enemy ship is really good, but targeting something that's doing very important at this stage of the game is critical. So it's all about focusing out and resetting. Resetting more than focusing out, I should say. My mic better be on. Alright. Alright, so let's see. We take out the rockets right now. They are full. We have a full flight. Here I'm really deciding on what to attack, either Baltimore or Zeton. The thinking right now is, do I have enough planes to hit Baltimore and survive, and have enough planes survive to be able to hit Zeton and reset him? That's what I'm thinking at this moment. So I do decide to hit Baltimore on this one. And unfortunately I picked up the enemy fighter, so that was kind of problematic. The enemy does do us a favor though, a huge favor I should say, by driving out of the cap. So I guess I guess this guy didn't consider the situation, but because he drives out of that cap, we still have our point lead. And we're going to be much more comfortable at this point. So we've been doing a lot of resets, and we start clearing them out. And we're also going to talk about CV versus CV gameplay a little bit too. But right now, let's just get our damage here on the Ruprecht. Make this flight count. Kind of drop early, make sure we get 3 bombs at least. Now I do take out torpedoes, but I saw that enemy torpedoes are coming, and remember, torpedoes are your main weapon versus an enemy CV. So I do use my last flight of bombers that has a fighter group on them to hopefully deter, catch this guy, basically just buy time and hopefully catch this. At this point, I see that the enemy is on cap, so I know that the sub is here. So you should always be paying attention to what's happening in the CV. And it wasn't the Ruprecht that did it, so we are looking for that sub to, at the very least, reset him and hopefully do damage on him. It's really hard to hit these fucking things. I don't really have sympathy for subs, so bring on the ASW at this point. We are able to get him, so very nice. Did we catch that Midway? I think we did, and he's just got like 1 plane in that flight here. At this point, I do call GG, because it is over. Probably should have been a little bit more considerate to their feelings here, that it's to make, I don't know, I guess I could have taken that as bad ill will. I mean, to me, it's obviously over, because as long as I play defense and play smart, then it's in my control. The enemy Midway should have definitely been already getting on Bravo if he wanted to really have this game. So you really got to think about your positioning in carrier gameplay. Especially halfway through, you should be ready to, if it comes close to this, it'd be better to be closer to the caps, you know? So right here I do turn back towards the right, towards the west, because I don't want to show any of my ship to this Ruprecht. The enemy CV does have a health advantage on me, so that's something that I got to consider, right? We are completely out of fighters, so positioning is our main defense. So this guy did have to beach to avoid the torpedoes. There, I just want those fighters to catch on, because I know the bombers are not really going to be a great weapon when it comes to CV versus CV gameplay. It's not as much of a factor, you know? So let's just clear out that fighter, and then use these fighters to finish this guy off. Here we find an opportunity to kind of promote our page, because I only got 63 of ya. Tell your friends. Alright, so we get that. Clear him out. And now we take our torpedoes. I would highly recommend that you get in a training room and try and get comfortable dropping with the minimum torpedo plane number needed to get a full strike off. Because if you remember, it's really hard to get the timing right for dropping, getting a second drop when you have to try and heal through the cap fighter. I've been doing a lot of testing, and you probably saw some uploads about Kaga on that. So I'm able to do it with 4 most of the time. So try and get, if you can do it with like 5, 6, that'd be really good. So really try and learn that. A lot of it is just really not wasting time doing a loop. You kind of got to go straight at them almost, but avoid the flag. So we turn on defensive AA, or I mean priority AA. So kind of work on that guy a little bit more. We do get the resets again. That was just something I wanted to get a lot of on this match to keep us in the match. 2 minutes left, so I don't end up finishing off this guy, and it annoys me because I know I could have. We already got the advantage here by being able to drop in an intelligent way. This flight I don't do as well like in the previous one. I think we only get 4 torpedoes. But let's see. So we save boost for the flight because we don't want to waste time flying in this. Here we go. So we get a good lineup, but he actually is like slowing down, and I didn't plot for that. So waiting for some more torpedoes. Don't have enough, so we just take our rockets. Let's just get resets on him. And I think this is kind of what makes Midway one of the best carriers, if not the best, is just flexibility, being able to do these resets on enemy CVs. You see we did a pre-drop, because we're not going to be able to get a second flight. Again, always key to do plane management. And here I do mistakenly take out my bombers because I didn't think I was going to have enough torpedoes. But if I had just waited and checked, I would have saw that a 4th one did come up, so I know I can do that. So I should have thought better on that. So we end up just trying to get some damage on this flight here. And again, resets. Resets are always good. And yeah, Midway, man. 191, you saw that we started off with 40. The damage comes. Just try and focus on the win more than the damage, and the damage will come. So yeah, we start shooting that, no problem. Match is over. I realized that too late here. I'm not going to be able to get this drop. So we try and do a much more direct flight here. And you can see, you don't have to do much dodging to get the 3 torpedoes out. It's very, very possible. So the match does end, and we do get the W. We get 1.2 million. 15,000 free XP because I stacked on, I think, the 3rd level, or not the highest, but the 2nd highest one. We get AA defense, 191k again, 38 defensive, and that puts us at 3,500 base XP. So definitely my highest in Midway. Really great ship, highly recommend it. And again, just try and practice your torpedoes, your torpedo dropping, and you'll be able to do well when it comes down to carrier versus carrier gameplay. That's it for this one, guys, and hope to catch you on the next one. GG!